Hello and welcome to the Aten Inquisition, where we spend a little bit of time getting to know the people of Atenveldt. We're your hosts, Morgan and Elizabeth, current king and queen during these times of plague. Our guest today is Her Excellency Miana. Miana, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hello. My name is Miana Nikanigan. I am currently the Baroness of the Barony of Ered. I think I'm going to hold off because I know some other questions you're probably going to ask. So that's it. I don't want to give too much information yet.
I know, but we are super excited to get to hear you talk first for a change. So how did you find the SCA?
I found the SCA in college. I was attending a junior college, and my boyfriend at the time introduced me to the SCA and D&D, go figure. That was probably 1985, and then subsequently became one of the founding members of a shire in that area called Hawkshaven. And I actually have a copy of the original request petition to the Prince and Princess of the Mists. And my name is way down here at the bottom where we signed it. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I've been in the SCA for a long time now, and very grateful for being introduced to it.
So I think we've kind of touched on how long you've been playing. So, and you're skipping all the questions because the next question I said you always played in Atenveldt. Where in the Mists is that shire?
It's a canton now, but it's in Northern California, Gilroy, California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and basically, I started there, and it was kind of interesting because even though I was avid, I loved, fantasy books and fantasy movies and shows and all that stuff medieval. When he first talked about what they were doing, I'm like, what do you guys do? So he brought me to before they were a shire, they were still having meetings. And so I went to a meeting with him and was like, oh, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of where it started, up in that area. Also, they were part of the Barony of Darkwood over there. Yeah.
So San Jose-ish.
Yes. Yeah. Little bit south of San Jose.
So do you have a favorite story from the beginnings that hooked you and made you want to stick around all this time?
Probably I would be remiss, since there's a certain person in the room right now, if I didn't tell the story of how I met Christopher, because we met in the SCA, and this was probably a couple, maybe 3 years after I actually joined the SCA. The boyfriend at the time that introduced me to the SCA, we had broken up, and I had was going to a 12th night, a West 12th night. And although myself and the former boyfriend were still on good terms and all that, it was just awkward to be at this event where he was with, a new person. And I was just roaming around with a friend of mine, and we roamed into the merchants area, and there was a merchant there selling knives and jewelry and things like that. And so I was kind of looking over the jewelry, and he goes, oh, well, that if you would like to pick up that piece of jewelry and wear it around the event, I can't think of a better way to have it showcased on such a beautiful lady. And that was Christopher. So that was my introduction to Christopher. And after that, at that event, we actually spent some time together. We did some dancing. We did the troika during the dancing portion of the event. And he was subsequently warned off by another mutual friend of mine who was also a mutual friend of his that if he did anything to hurt me, that this other subsequent friend of mine would hurt him. So that was kind of our introduction to each other. And at that time, we were both in about to enter our last semester of college. And at that time, I was going to college in San Diego, and he was in college in Sacramento. And so we kind of met at that event, went our separate ways. And then when I came back again for another break, I went to some SCA events, and we found each other again. And so it was kind of that second time that we decided to, kind of pursue things as a little bit more serious. And then when I went back to San Diego, we corresponded through writing, through mail. We didn't have email, didn't have texting, so we wrote letters to each other for the entire semester that I was in San Diego and he was in Sacramento for our final semesters. And so that's how we really got to know each other more, was through these very long letters. And the rest is history, I guess. So sorry, I keep hitting the table. So that's probably one of my favorite stories from the SCA, is how I met my husband.
I could see that. So what is your persona? And tell me about your personal heraldry, please. Like what is the meaning of it for you?
My persona is basically Celtic, Irish Celtic. My heraldry is something that when I create, because it's my original heraldry that I created in early 90s, whenever, I think it was like 92. I was trying to make it reflect something about me personally. So primarily the wavy fess is a representation of water, which I have a great affinity for the ocean and water, lakes and things like that. And so the blue on the bottom represents the ocean with the wavy fess, and then the green on the top is the sky, and then the crescent moon is part of my. I picked it because at that time, because I'm a Cancer, the moon is part of my astrological sign, and I just thought it was kind of cool, and I've always loved anything lunar. So that's kind of how all those elements came together.
Nice.
So even though you've been in the SCA for a minute, do you still have goals?
I do. My current goal is just to try to be a great Baroness for my barony during this time of plague. It's very difficult, as I'm sure you guys know. But some other goals I have are also I'd like to get a little bit more serious with my rapier fighting. I'd like to be able to pick a style, because there's lots of styles of rapier, and I've never really had any one particular style and don't really know that much about the different styles. So one of my goals is to do some more research and kind of pick a style and start working towards getting better with that style and being able to go, oh, okay, well, I recognize, someone watching me fight can go, oh, I recognize that style, I'd like to do some more with the arts and sciences. I haven't really done that much arts and science type stuff. So those are, but I don't want to get too there. I have a lot that I'd like to do, but trying to keep it limited and achievable. So I'd say those are my three main ones at the moment.
Yeah. So Is there anything that you've done during your time in the SCA that you are especially proud of?
I don't know if I did it all that well, but my first reign as Baroness, I feel like I did well because I was so terrified. I mean, I was, 100%. I was all in, willing to do it, but extremely terrified of the whole public speaking aspect of it and the responsibility of being a face for the barony and being that person, that go-to person, that people expect you to have all the answers. And if you don't, then it's kind of puts you on, I'm not good being put on the spot. And so it was a great learning experience for me. And I think I came through it okay. The barony was still in one piece when we left. So that was a good thing.
So I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm terrified every time I have to stand up in front of everybody. Still.
No.
Yes.
For real.
Still.
That's too
a secret for you and everybody else who ends up watching this. Yeah. So, is there something that you love doing that is outside of your normal path?
Something that I love. Thank you. That's outside of my normal way.
Path.
Path. Oh, okay.
Doesn't fall into the goals we were just talking about.
I actually do love doing artsy, creative stuff. I'm just not that great at it. So that's kind of why I picked it as one of my other goals is to be able to explore that and maybe find something that I would be good at, because I do enjoy doing it. It's the doing of it, not necessarily the finished product isn't always pretty, but I do enjoy the process of, things like scroll illumination and, making pretty things, sewing things, making largesse, that kind of stuff. I do enjoy doing it. It takes a lot for me to make it look good. So that would be something that I would enjoy exploring more and just becoming a little more proficient.
So I know that my muse is really fickle. And so I'll go through periods of I don't want to really create very much. And then right now I have probably 4 projects going right now. And I have probably 4 more in my head that I'm like, if only I didn't have to work for a living.
Right.
Is there anything that you would like to try that you haven't had the opportunity to try yet?
I think doing more scroll illumination. I've only done 1 scroll, so maybe it doesn't fall into that category I haven't done yet, but I've only done 1, so I'm gonna call that. Also, I'd like to try thrown weapons. I think that would be kind of a fun way to just get to know that another category of the SCA is doing thrown weapons.
So, except for being Christopher's wife, what else are you known for?
Probably, I would hope, service. I do a lot for, my own household as far as wrangling everybody. I think I'm a pretty good cook. I manage our kitchen, our household kitchen pretty well. People seem to like my food. So if you ask other people, they'd probably say my cooking skills I'm pretty well known for in maybe not SCA wide, but in a small contingent of people. And being the Baroness of Ered, I guess.
Again, even. So what advice would you have for a brand new member?
Volunteer. Above all else, I wish I had done more of that when I started, because, and I'm not saying volunteer for, anything and everything, but especially at the larger events, I think it's one of the best ways for a new person to not only get to know people outside of whatever group, brought them to the SCA, but you get to see the inner workings of how events are run, or how the watch is done, or whatever area you choose to volunteer in, because there are so many different ways to volunteer that I think that's the best way for people really to get a really good idea of how it all comes together too. I think it garners a respect in people to see how an event is run and how much it actually takes, even a small event, to as far as people and organization and things like that. So that would be my best advice to any newbie, is volunteer.
Well, in all of your travels in multiple kingdoms, who really inspires you? And it doesn't have to be just one person. You don't have to narrow.
Let's see. One of the people that really inspired me early on, and it's not somebody that I know particularly well, but it's something that she did that was that kind of colored how I comport myself, which is Duchess Miana. During my first reign as Baroness, awarded me her Queen's Order of Grace, and that really inspired me because we didn't really know each other all that well. We weren't personal friends. She didn't know that much about me, so it wasn't something that I felt was given to me because, oh, this person knows me really well and likes me, and you know what I mean. It felt like it was something that was very true, and she gave it to me because of how she saw me comport myself in the SCA, and so that really inspired me to be that way, to recognize people for what I witness of them, and not just because I know them personally, or somebody else is saying, oh, you really should, award this person this award. So that incident inspired me, and she, in her thinking, the way she kind of came about that definitely inspired me. Someone else who inspires me is Her Excellency Bojana, who is my sister wife, and she inspires me because she tries everything, and she is proficient at a lot of things, but is not afraid to try to get out of her own comfort zone within the SCA and what her strengths are. She's always wanting to try, different arts or service or whatever. And so she's someone that inspires me just to try to do more. And no, don't. Thank you. So that's who inspires me at the moment.
I think that's good. So what are you doing to stay busy during the plague?
Well, I'm still working normally. My particular business has not required that we work from home, mainly because we are a pretty small, and we're a small business office setting, but we're pretty far apart. So I'm still working full time, but also doing a lot of things around the house. We're doing a lot of projects, but it really hasn't changed that much for us mundanely. I do miss the SCA, so I'll be really happy when things can get back to normal. But other than just my normal working life, the weekends are now, instead of going to SCA events, they're filled with yard work and home projects and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, we got a lot of that going on.
So much.
So what's one thing that you feel that we've lost over the years that you'd like to see us bring back?
Something we've lost. Our minds. Yeah.
Yeah. Those don't come back.
Gosh. Nothing comes to my mind immediately. Sorry, I'm creating dead air here.
No,
I can't really. There's nothing that really pops into my mind. I don't really have a burning idea of, wow, we used to do this in the SCA, and I wish they'd bring it back. There's really nothing that kind of pops in there.
I think that's not a bad thing, honestly.
No.
So what is your favorite tradition? And it could be here, it could be West.
I think this is going to be kind of silly. It's not a very glorious tradition, but I love midnight bacon at Estrella.
I'm a fan.
Because I think it's kind of spread out to other events too. I don't think it's just at Estrella anymore, but I think it's just another way for everyone to commingle at events, and especially at that late at night, to have people still out running around it just creates that much more level of fun. And of course, I know not everybody loves bacon, but it is a favorite food among a lot of people. And so I think breaking bread of any kind with your fellow compatriots is always kind of a bonding experience. And so I think it's a great way for everybody of all stations within the SCA to kind of have some fun together.
Yeah, well, and those are the moments, right, that make us want to go to the next event. It's not necessarily the war fighting all day long. It's usually something that happens, like with people just around a fire, right. Be it bacon or whatever.
Right.
I know that those are the moments that make us want to travel, to out of kingdom stuff too. Is it's never, because I can fight anywhere, but it's those moments with people breaking bread and sitting around a campfire that you can't place.
Cracking jokes and
singing songs.
So are there any traditions that you've witnessed that you'd like to see go away?
I've witnessed. Again, no, I can't think of anything that was just appalled me or anything. I know some people might say the slap whale when someone gets knighted, but no, I can't think of anything that I would wish away, because it's all there. It's all part of my SCA experience. So, that everything has its place in my mind.
So what's your favorite event?
Oh, well, boy, that's really close between Highlands and Too Hot, which, sorry, I'm biased. They're both Ered events. Highlands, for its opportunity for us as a barony to kind of showcase what we can do. It's our opportunity to really put are us and our populace to put our all into something and say, hey, known world, come into our home and let us show you a great time. And it's just been, that event has been some of the funnest times I've had. And then I have to say equal to that is Too Hot for exactly the opposite reason. It is generally an event that is just Ered Sul, where we get to just kind of relax and be with each other and do silly stuff, and have a great time together. And so that's also our baronial birthday. So those two events I think are pretty equal for almost opposite reasons. So
I get it. I think most baronies have an event that's really about the family of the barony. And sure, everybody else is invited, but it's not about them. And those are special events, I think.
Yeah.
So what would make a perfect event for you?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. A day that starts with an awesome breakfast. Just, eggs and bacon and potatoes and all that. Get all fueled up. You go fight, come back, have enough energy and enough time to go to a class or two, which generally it doesn't happen because I'm generally wiped out, but we're talking a perfect scenario here. So enough energy, enough time to take a quick shower and go take a class, and then head over to the wherever they're having the dance collegium and do some dancing, followed by a trip up to Merchant's Row and find some awesome stuff on Merchant's Row. So yeah, just being able to cram everything in the time that I'm there. Just having the energy and the time to kind of experience all of it, either in the one day or, the time that I'm there.
Is there anything that we don't do at events that you'd like to see happen that you think would make them better?
Well, the one thing that's kind of at the front of my brain right now, because I was just reading it on the Atenveldt page, was the gentleman who was proposing some sort of organized help for either disabled Skadians or older Skadians or anybody that just needs help getting set up. So that's kind of at the forefront of my brain right now, that I would love to see some sort of more of an organized attempt to get something like that set up and have an actual crew of people ready to go for any of those Skadians that need extra help to get set up, because not everybody has a household to help them with that sort of thing. So I think that would add a lot to an event, and I think it would allow a lot more people to attend if they knew they had some help when they got there, to get themselves set up and be able to enjoy the event without the stress of, I'm going to have to wander around and try to find someone to help me and, set up and take down and that kind of thing. So that's what I would like to see.
So the gentleman that just stepped down from the big chair for Qaid, he actually used to, for a while, he still do. They take younger kids that can't afford to get in to events.
Oh.
And people that need help setting up, or if you've just decided you don't want to set up, you can pay to get these kids in, and then they'll set you up and tear you down.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it was actually
super
something
successful. Like, they ran out of kids that needed to get in because everybody was like, "Yep, that's worth it. I'll pay for that."
Yeah.
So it also helped to get more people to the event, people that might not have made it.
Right.
On both ends of that spectrum, really.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I'd like to see us pursue. So if you need any help, I'm there for you.
Yeah. Cool.
I see what you did there.
I did, right? So, do you have a favorite out of kingdom event?
I haven't been to that many out of kingdom events recently. I've been to Pennsic once, and we went to Potrero. Thank you. We went to Potrero War years and years ago, and although I loved Pennsic for the grandeur of it, there were some other things that were challenges, the weather and that sort of thing. But the Potrero War was really, really, it was so much fun, and the weather was so beautiful, and just a really friendly, really fun event that we had a really great time at. We took Tyler and Dugan when they were 14, 15, and they had a great time. So it was really great to experience it with a couple of teenagers, I have yet to make it to, we have yet to make it to Gulf Wars, but everybody raves about Gulf Wars. So maybe someday we'll get there, and that may become my favorite out of kingdom event. But for now, I'd have to say Potrero War.
Yeah. Well, when things open back up, we'll have to figure out how to drag you guys to Great Western too.
Yes.
That too. Yeah.
I love that one.
You'd have a great time there.
Cool.
So to get into the really heavy questions now.
Oh, God.
What is a peer in your mind? What does that mean to be a peer?
Well, first and foremost, a teacher, a mentor, someone who is engaged in the SCA at a level that is focused outside of themselves, because to me, there's someone who is focused on helping other people find their path, and if that person's path is their path, then I see them as that's where their focus is helping helping others to guide them along the same path that they're on. They're also, I have to admit, a little bit of intimidation of peers, but I know that as people, they're just people like we are, who have great talent in whatever their chosen field is. But there's somebody that I look up to, and that if I need to know something about a particular topic, I'm gonna search out a peer, because I know that the information I'm going to get from that person is going to be top notch, and I'm not going to have to question the validity of it. So to me, there's somebody I look up to, and someone that I admire a great deal for the amount of effort that they put into becoming a peer. So, yeah.
So is there anything you'd like to see from the peers that you think would improve the SCA?
Well, I mean, someone who is a peer from a, as in a laurel or a pelican. God, what am I trying to say? More ways to engage them as far as their knowledge base goes. It would be nice to see, we have so many peers. It would be nice to see more of them putting on collegiums at larger events. I think also the peers who have become that because they have reigned or they have achieved a fighting prowess. Again, I would love to hear more about kind of what got them on that path, what it's like doing what they do. So I guess for me, it would just be more opportunities for engagement with them, whether that be, I don't know, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is the Peanuts character of Lucy sitting in the her little booth.
5 cents.
Yeah. Just to be able to sit and talk with a peer and do this sort of interview with a peer, I think would be really cool.
And the funniest thing is, I can speak for myself, but a lot of other peers too. We all technically are always there ready to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always horrified when people are like, well, I'm so intimidated to talk to you. And I'm like, why? Like, I am relaxed, but.
Well, and I think for me, the first thing that always comes in my head is like, oh my God, they're probably so tired of people coming up to them constantly because there's always somebody, tugging their sleeve. Hey, can I talk to you about this? And so I'm always, I don't want to bother them. You know what I mean? But that's just me because I tend to be more standoffish and introverted anyway. I'm not as good about going up and saying, hey, I want to pick your brain about XYZ. So, but that's just that's my thing.
Well, I can tell you that most of us are like, no, please come talk to us, because we're on the other side of that. Like, I don't want to keep pushing my stuff on people and so thinking that they're like, again with you,
How many times do I have to hear that story?
Right, exactly. So I think we just have to, get better at communicating all the way around.
Yeah.
Well, you answered all of our questions too quickly. So now
sorry.
No, it means
now it's just off the cuff.
Well, I'm thinking of new questions that you're not prepared for.
Great.
One of the things is I still have these very fond memories of when we actually met you and Christopher for real, because it was a time in our kingdom when a lot of the baronies weren't really getting along, was right when we stepped up.
Yep.
And
I remember.
And you guys hadn't been in the seat for very long either. And all of the B&Bs had spent a whole day together, not at an event, just hanging out and getting to know each other and trying to resolve those issues. And I think it had a profound impact on all of our baronies, because a lot of that is still happening today. Like, the baronies still get along really well, twined. And
the calendar meetings aren't as vicious as they used. The calendar meetings aren't as vicious as they used to be.
Yeah. And I just think it was so great to be part of that, and that you guys were there too. It was really nice. We had just stepped up and were super nervous and had no idea what we were doing.
Yep.
Couldn't tell.
So it was nice having that, kind of figure out that we're all kind of in the same place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So now I want you to tell me your favorite Christopher story.
Oh God.
Not the one that you already told us.
No, I know. That's my story anyway. Yeah. He has a totally different version of that, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. It could even be your favorite time that he put his foot in his mouth.
Favorite story.
I have to say, because the thing that sprung to my mind first was the very first time he ever did his Lancelot story. And because I didn't tell him at the time, but because of kind of the risque-ness of the story and the portrayal of Sir Lancelot? Yeah, Lancelot raised by the fairies. And so he was kind of portraying it that way. I was a little nervous about the first time. And so, of course, the very first time he ever did it, it was perfect. And he was very, very flamboyant and everything with it. And I'm I'm sitting there looking around at the audience, trying to make sure nobody's getting offended. But it was awesome. People loved it. But that's one of the things that really stand out as far as a Christopher story is just the first time he told that Sir Lancelot story, mainly because of my nervousness about it, but just his delivery of it and his treatment of it was just, great. So it all turned out okay. But you probably want something that's kind of like more. I can't think of anything.
No way that there has to be something.
I know, but you caught me off guard. I have to have time to think about this stuff. And
you did mention the first time I asked you turned me down.
Oh, that's true. That's true. He just reminded me that the first time he actually formally asked me out, I turned him down. So because I could kind of tell he was a little bit of a little scoundrel. And this was after that first event and where we had met. And I had seen, we had been at other events together and I'd seen him flirting with other girls. And so I'm like, I don't know that I want to really go out with that guy. So yeah, the first time he asked me out, I turned him down. So he had to work at it.
I think that's good for him.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It made him work hard.
So I know that for us doing the job as B&B, that was a lot of work. And we've, joked over the years about there's no way we'd do it again. So what possessed you?
Well, that first reign, there was a lot of issues in the barony that needed to be fixed. And so we managed through that. And so the second time when we were asked if we would consider it, my first thought was, no, we're okay. We did it one time. That's enough. People don't want to see us again. They don't, but they were insistent. And so when Christopher and I started thinking about it seriously, we're like, well, everything, the barony is running great. We have a full slate of officers. Why not? Let's give it a shot. It could be, we did have a lot of fun the first time we reigned. So there wasn't any doubt that we would still be able to have a great time. And the populace is wonderful and easy to work with and all that. So, yeah, it wasn't initially, it's not like we, said, hey, by the way, we're willing to do this again if you need us to. It took a little bit of convincing and a lot of discussion between Christopher and I. And now here we are stuck at home. So, it's a whole new challenge this time.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, very weird. It's been kind of cool because we've kind of joined up with Mons in doing these virtual courts. And so that's been kind of fun to do that, just to kind of get to know them and their barony and all that. So that's been really fun.
Yeah, the virtual courts aren't easy. It's hard without feeling the emotion of the individual you're going to award to, because I play off of all of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't work on.
We need that energy.
Yeah, but on the same note, it's things like what you guys are doing and the virtual courts that we're doing, and even things like this interview. Just trying to keep people connected.
Yeah.
So that when we do open things back up, there's still people that are going to show up.
Right. Hopefully.
We'll be there.
Yeah. We'll be there.
So I will say I'm very proud that Christopher has kept out. I've heard a couple of peanut gallery comments, but he hasn't.
He's done very well.
Yes, he's done very well.
Hi, Christopher.
So he's done so well. So why don't we let him tell his favorite Maureen story? Miana story.
He's not garbed up.
I just keep his face. Just his face is fine.
Or you could be the floating.
He's thinking.
My favorite morning show. Oh, okay.
I was going to say, there's no way he isn't prepared with something.
No.
Okay. Sure. Okay. All right. So this is actually not just my favorite Maureen story because you guys were there too. So this was back when we were all B&Bs, and you remember when I think wasn't it Elsbieta that challenged all the Baronesses to begin fighting rapier?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. So and it was funny because she came in. I think it was at a B&B dinner, laid the challenge down. All the Baronesses were like, I guess that's what we're doing now. And so did it. And then it culminated in what in our vast decades in the SA is my favorite moment, which was at Highlands War, the mercenary court where all the Baronesses came in as Valkyries. All with the winged helmets and everything. And by then she had been doing it for a couple of years, so she wasn't reading her notes anymore, right? She could get up and actually speak. But yeah, during that court, everybody had a great time. We actually had a bunch of Ered Soul t-shirts to give away. So we actually had people throwing them into the audience. Sorry. Yeah, so the game was at any time during court, if we said a movie quote, the first person to yell it out got a t-shirt.
How's this favorite Miana story?
So because you were there with your winged helmet, your full outfit, and you were the one who got the Baronesses to do it.
That's true.
Yeah, they weren't going to do it until you basically went the full mile and got
the full Monty.
Yeah, and got the whole Valkyrie helmet.
I still have that, by the way.
All that kind of stuff. Got everybody going, and then it devolved into utter chaos after that.
Yes.
But it was fun at the beginning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, certainly being that you were the shire of the two, to have you come out and come into your own, I can see why that's his favorite story.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll let the spotlight go back to her.
Thanks.
Do you have any more questions?
I don't. Did you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I can tell you one thing about me that maybe most people don't know, which is that when I was still living in the West, I actually did hardsuit fighting for about 2 years.
Really?
And I got through I went out in the second round of a West Crown.
Nice.
And I fought in, oh my gosh, what was the name of that war? I fought in a small war. No, it wasn't Missinagua. I don't think it was that big of a war. It might have been. Anyway, so yeah, I did do hardsuit fighting for a couple of years in my early days.
You're not going to bring that back? You're not going to come back?
I might. I've thought about just giving it, just not, completely giving myself over to it. But I've thought about it before, just trying it again. Be kind of fun to really have somebody put their armor on and just let me wail.
This one wanted to do combat archery to Estrella, and I was like, not while I'm crowned.
No.
I need to be focused on what I'm doing, not keeping you alive.
Right.
So now that's the goal for next Estrella.
Right. Next Estrella.
Yeah.
Right.
Someday, Estrella.
Someday.
Right. If we ever get there.
Yeah.
Hopefully in November.
Yeah.
Well, it has been lovely spending time with you and getting to know you a little better.
Thank you. It's been nice spending time with you guys, your majesties as well, you guys. Your majesty.
Thanks
Too familiar.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Bye.